Okay, another video. Uh, I'm I'm definitely getting used to this type of shit. To get to the point, another gameplay what if. It's kind of a mini one though, because it's nothing like gameplay and like expansive or anything, but it's more of like a weapon rebalance. And one of those weapons is actually from Dead Space 2. An underrated gun in my opinion that I kind of have a soft spot for, but I never really use it that much because of one huge problem, and that gun in particular is the rivet gun. And to those that don't know what the rivet gun is, it was a pre-order DLC weapon back in the olden days when pre-orders actually gave you something substantial, like something meaningful. I'm not saying the rivet gun was anything amazing, but it. Oh god, damn it! Sorry about that. Small complication and interruption here. But yes, I know we were talking about the rivet gun. Can't really remember what we were talking about. But, yeah, just to get into it, it was a pre-order weapon, I believe. And not a whole lot of people managed to get it since it was one of those rare instances where the original weapon itself was literally exclusive to that pre-order. Nowadays, when a pre-order comes out, oh yeah, it'll be it's a pre-order. You have to pre-order the game, but eventually it becomes like an actual unlockable or a patch or a $2 or $3, or in this case $5, DLC purchasable on a store. But in this case, there was no other way to get that particular rivet gun unless you're on PC and used hacks, or if I remember correctly, they just added into the patch. Now I'm actually curious. Jeez, this is turning into a freaking adventure right now. Okay, I decided to, boot up Dead Space 2 for 10 minutes here to get to a shop to see if a patch added in the rivet gun. Because on PC, there was a patch that gave you all the DLC for free that was released for consoles, sans Dead Space 2 Severed, and it gives you the agility rivet gun. That was the only other rivet gun that was released besides the original rivet gun. That was the agility one. It gives you a couple of small stat boosts, but unfortunately, in my eyes, those stat boosts are fucking meaningless. But if you are on PC, there is hope. There is a handy tool called the Dead Space 2 Save Editor. And thankfully, when I was going through that in the safes, you can give yourself the rivet gun, as well as, the couple of I think, items from Dead Space Severed, so Gabe Weller's outfit and his secret rifles. Not all hope is lost on PC players, and considering how easy it is to run Dead Space 2, I mean, fuck, I bet if I could run on my fucking phone. It's just back then, games did not take up that much resources at all. So if you were to build a modern day rig for a $500-$600, you can easily play Dead Space 2. I would actually recommend it. To me, it's like one of the best games in the series. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the rivet gun. So, the rivet gun to me for Dead Space, the reason why it's kind of underrated is it's, well, not underrated, we're doing a what if, but it's underrated to me. That's where it all starts off for this video. It's underrated because to me it's considered the 9mm handgun of the Dead Space universe. You have the 45, which is the plasma cutter. It's fucking deadly. It used to cut limbs easily, has great ammo, has great damage, it's an all-rounded weapon. But then you look at the rivet gun that was introduced via, the GameStop pre-order. And that gun's kind of unique because it's kind of nestled in between the pulse rifle and the plasma cutter, in my opinion. But still, it's kind of a shit gun due to one fundamental flaw, and that is the fact that it's a singular round that gets shot off. It's not like the pulse rifle where it's a triangular shaped reticle, and it's not like the plasma cutter where it's a line that could be augmented 90 degrees. No, this is a singular shot. And given you have another weapon in Dead Space 2, the secret rifle, it's a singular, pinpoint round, but at least that weapon, when fully upgraded, it can take down a fucking necromorph in a snap. Just downs the fucker without dismemberments. But the rivet gun it's relatively weak. It's like in between. I think the damage gets up to a maximum of 14 per round, which is quite respectable, but it might not be enough to dismember an enemy in one hit to dismember their limb. And its secondary fire is relatively shit. It's like when you fire it, there's a cluster amount of rivets that can come out. But to me, I just feel that's a waste of ammo that could be spent trying to dismember a particular limb, which is where the mini what if comes in. It would be nice if I know it's not going to be updated, but maybe for a potential Dead Space 2 remake, if you know the new Dead Space remake that comes out next year does well. What the update could be is that it removes that rivet grenade explosive effect and replaces it with a secondary barrel, where when you activate it, a second light pops up underneath it. So now, instead of being a singular line, it's now slightly expanded to be 2 lines. Now, you still don't have the benefit of being able to augment it 90 degrees like the plasma cutter, but I think with using that extra line, it can help you have a wider range of dismembering enemies. Like, one instance where I think it was kind of fucking hard to use the rivet gun was during that church scene. After you defeat the pack, that big giant crawling fucker comes out, and you gotta destroy his cord while he's trying to pull you. It's really hard to pull that off with the rivet gun. But I feel if maybe we had a secondary line to help us, pull off that type of dismemberment, it would be handy. Now, of course, there would have to be a balancing act, like with any of the secondary functions. And I think the balancing act with that would be, you're obviously adding in a secondary barrel, it's going to use double the ammo. But it doesn't really affect it too much, since if I remember correctly, in the game code or how it's programmed, is that unfortunately if you have the rivet gun equipped, it'll prioritize dropping more ammo for that gun as opposed to spreading it out evenly for all the other weapons in your inventory. So you will have a surplus of rivet gun ammo. And I'd say at least having that secondary barrel gives you a choice of using double the ammo for double the damage, so maybe you can dismember an enemy a little bit quicker by using that secondary function. But if you know you're going up against a relatively weak enemy like the pack, or it's a wounded necromorph, you can toggle it off and just use one round to have a little bit of ammo conservation. But beyond that, I mean, I do kind of like the rivet gun because it's like, it feels more of an actual engineering weapon as opposed to the plasma cutter. Like, from the impression I got with it in the first Dead Space, it felt more like a mining tool, which doesn't feel like it would fit in with the whole engineering vibe. With the fucking, plasma cutter, you're mining rocks, you're cutting that shit down. I mean, I'm not saying you can't use the plasma cutter to cut other shit open to aid in engineering tasks, but at least with the rivet gun, it feels like you're trying to fix shit with it. You're trying to close up holes and whatnot. But beyond that, I mean, I do kind of just like the rivet gun for how it improves on the other aspects. You're obviously having more ammo in the clip. It has a very ridiculously fast firing rate. It's just the only problem is it does do slightly less damage in the plasma cutter. And that very tiny reticle does make it hard to use. You have to be very well trigger disciplined and have a good aim to get use out of that rivet gun. But yeah, I mean, it's a middle ground, but you'd still have way more use from a plasma cutter or a pulse rifle. But that was just like a mini what if update that I feel they could have added into it to make it work. And who knows, maybe we'll get our wish in one of these Dead Space remakes. Maybe the rivet gun will make a return in Dead Space 1. It'd actually be kind of fucking cool, especially if they, changed it a little bit. Because, I mean, it's a decent weapon to use, but how it's, used, it's kind of tricky. And also another small complaint, which kind of carries over from the javelin gun, because the javelin gun is kind of like the bigger fucking counterpart to the rivet gun, is that obviously when you use the javelin or rivet gun, it shoots like a miniature projectile, and what happens is there's so much force behind it, it literally launches your enemy when you actually kill them, which I guess is a good way to tell if you killed the fucking necromorph. But there is that disadvantage of literally launching it 30 feet in front of you, especially with the added effect of it potentially having it literally attached to a fucking wall, pin it to a wall. So it could be tricky. not to mention with how Dead Space 2 is kind of organized, you're almost kind of encouraged to use the pulse rifle. Because I think I may have forgot to mention this in the previous video about, the plasma cutter versus the pulse rifle, and that the added semi-benefit to having it, be a 2 or 3 round burst for the pulse rifle is that when you kill a necromorph, they don't automatically drop the item anymore. Like in Dead Space 1. Dead Space 2, you actually have to go up to and stomp on it or punch it, which could be a little bit annoying, but that's where I think the extra round that comes out from the pulse rifle when you use it could be an added benefit. It'll allow you to just, shoot the body once so you can make the item drop, but in particular, it helps with the pack. Because the pack, it's like, they're so frail and easy to kill. Like, one round from the pulse rifle automatically kills them, but because there's so many fucking, like, there's so many little children coming after you, you're kind of just stuck there like, oh, fuck. These bodies are going to disappear after like 5 or 6 bodies. What am I going to do? And that's where the pulse rifle comes in handy, because that extra round that would have been spent, it'll just be spent, damaging the body so it'll drop the item. So that's like the only real reason why like the 2 round burst, I think, for the pulse rifle is kind of handy. It might be a waste of ammo, but in some cases it might not be, because it'll drop the item before the body disappears. But, yeah, shit, wasn't expecting to give another, valid point to the pulse rifle being badass, but, yeah, I think that's really it. I had something else in my mind, but it completely fucking got lost to me. But, yeah, mini what if. It'd be nice to change that little thing for the rivet gun to give it a lot more value. And, yeah, that's all I really wanted to say. Like the video if you liked my little critique. Comment any ideas or thoughts. And subscribe if you can. Yeah, I'm not made for this. I'd rather just keep rambling about games. But, yeah, take care. Stay safe. Probably have another video later. Depends on if my editor, well, not editor, it's my co-host. He's having some fun editing it. So just so you know, I'm not the one adding in whatever artwork he's adding in for the videos or whatnot. What you hear me doing right now, this is what the manager's doing. I'm the one talking. He's the one behind the scenes making these videos all beautiful. I hope you're enjoying his artistic expression. You're just enjoying my lovely, calming, artistic voice. I don't know. I give up. Bye.